Kendall Rogers joins us in what is now going to be a weekly conversation on Tuesdays on the Farm Bureau phone line. Kendall, always appreciate your time. What's up, my man?
Oh, same old, same old. We're back to winter weather, so I'm not liking that very much. But you know what? I've seen this is after the Shriners College Classic. I've seen 16 teams in 3 weeks, so I think I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit and just watch from the command center.
Not a terrible idea. All right, you have seen a threat of having an invitation permanently rescinded from the Roost at Pete Taylor Park.
Oh boy.
Southern Miss fans are upset that they are not in the top 25 after a week in which they beat Mississippi State and won 2 out of 3 on the road against Lafayette. You told us beginning of the year they're knocking on the door. They're right there close. What have the Golden Eagles got to do to break and crack the code to get in the top 25?
They're as close as anybody. You know, I think they're right there with UCLA. I mean, the problem we ran into this week is there are a lot of teams that deserve to be in. I mean, Gonzaga, you've got to put them in. They go on the road and sweep Oklahoma State, a top 5 or 6 team. They swept them. They finished off that sweep yesterday. So, I mean, that looked like a very good, smart decision. And you look at Tulane, actually taking a series from State. I mean, the thing is you won a midweek game from State, which is awesome. They played great. But you have Tulane who took a weekend series from State, and then also, by the way, they went on the road and took a series from Louisiana Tech. So, Tulane's resume is better. And so, right now it's just a matter of who had a better resume of which team gets in. I mean, UCLA has a really strong argument. I mean, they, beat the number 1 team in the country on Sunday, and they went 2-1 for the weekend, and they're not in. So it just gives you an idea how many good teams there are right now. But I do think USM is right there. I mean, I think this is a really good team. This is a team that coming into the year we were very high on. And I think whether it's, Riggins or Waldrep or guys like that, I mean, they're pitching at a very high level. We talked about Ostrander last week, but, they continue to pitch at a high level, and they're getting key hits. And, that's not an easy series for them at Louisiana. I mean, this is the Louisiana team who certainly well documented kind of the chippy play that those two teams had last year. And to go on the road to a place where they're just waiting on you, that's not easy. And so to get a series win there is huge.
And then there's the other side of the coin, Kendall, with Mississippi State. A really bad week last week. Has not been the start of the season anybody would have expected. Why are they still ranked?
By the way, that was Haydad that asked that question, not me.
We are giving them one last hope. I'll be really honest with you. We really, really struggled keeping them in. I don't think any of the three of us really wanted to keep them in, but it's kind of like, We'll give them one last shot. I'm not feeling very good about Mississippi State. I'll be very honest with you. I just feel like on Friday against Tulane, I think this team kind of started feeling it a little bit, like in a good way. Like, okay, we're rolling. Landon Sims is out here dealing. All of a sudden, Landon Sims gets hurt, and what happens? The next 2 days, they blow a lead, and then they lose the series finale. So I just think the wheels are really spinning with this team, and I guess if you're looking at the silver lining, if you're an MSU fan, you're looking at the fact that, okay, we might not have Landon Sims for a very long time, perhaps even the season. I'm expecting him to be out for the season, but we'll see what the reports say. But, you'd almost rather it happen now than it happen later. I remember a few years ago, Texas Tech, and I'm not, he's better than Stephen Gingrey, but a few years ago, Stephen Gingrey, who was an All-American left-hander for Texas Tech, got hurt like the second weekend of the season. Well, by the end of the year, they had, found a way to replace him, and they ended up being in Omaha. And so, you've seen situations in the past where, you've had a stud ace get hurt early, and then all of a sudden, by middle of the season, you're able to kind of pick up the pieces. But this is just a team that needs something to go right. I mean, it's very odd to be in this position as a defending national champion, but, on a night where they hit, they typically aren't pitching other than when Landon pitches. And then, the opposite is true as well. So, it's a hangover year, but I don't want to excuse the fact they're just not playing very good baseball. And we'll see what happens in the Texas Tech series. But I would say this, if I was a stockholder of Mississippi State right now, I certainly would be selling fast.
Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball on your radio. So about that midweek series, it starts tonight, less than an hour from first pitch, 2 games against Texas Tech. I don't take a whole lot of the 70 runs that Texas Tech scored in 4 games against Merrimack into the equation. So what is Mississippi State seeing tonight? What are they running into in this team?
Yeah, so I would just totally ignore what they did against Merrimack. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, they're playing better than they did opening weekend when I saw them, but I mean, they're not that good offensively. I think the biggest thing when it comes to Texas Tech is in the past, Jace Young's been really good. He was really good last year, but they also had guys around him who would make you pay as well. This year, not really the case. I mean, other than Jace Young, that's not a lineup that you look at top to bottom and you're going, as a coach, you're going, oh man, this lineup really scares me. So until they have some guys step up when they're not playing Merrimack, I'm not really, sold on them. I think this is a much different team than what we're used to. What's really interesting about this, midweek series though is, Chase Hampton starting for Texas Tech tonight, and he was the guy that coming in the year was projected to be their Friday night starter. So, it's not like, Mississippi State's seeing chopped liver in the middle of the week here. So it's a really interesting series, and I think we're going to find out a lot about both teams here. For Texas Tech, it's, is the Merrimack series a total fluke? And then for Mississippi State is, we're really finding out what your makeup is here. This is a time where, without the Tanner Allens of the world and the Rowdy Jordans of the world around the program, you got to get guys like Logan Tanner, Cam James, and whatnot to really step up and kind of take the bull by the horn, so to speak.
Kendall, I was in Orlando this weekend. Finished the 12-inning game with Ole Miss at UCF on Saturday, grab something to eat, get back to the hotel, and then I'm frustrated because I can't find LSU and Texas on TV. And then I realize it's on MLB Network, pull it up on the computer. That crowd on Saturday night at Minute Maid, 25,000 strong. Was that a sign that college baseball is growing, or was that just, okay, it's Texas, it's LSU, these two are different?
It was probably, I would say 65%, 70% of it is the fact it was those two teams. I think if it's LSU versus Baylor, you're not going to have that kind of crowd. But, when you get two perennial powers like that, two storied programs together like that, where, Baton Rouge, 4 hours from here, and Austin's 2.5, it was kind of the perfect storm to have a huge crowd. But, I've seen some big crowds. I think last year, when Arkansas and Texas played at Globe Life on Saturday night, even with the bad weather, I think they had like 17 or 18,000. But I've never seen 25 at a place like that. So I mean, it was neat to see, and weirdly enough, it might be the last baseball we see at Minute Maid for 2 or 3 more months.
Yeah, could be a little while. What did you make of Ole Miss UCF? I came away this weekend pretty impressed with UCF's pitching and thought that was a really quality non-conference series win for Ole Miss. Are you buying UCF? Did that tell you anything about Ole Miss?
Yeah, I think it is a quality road series win. I kind of wrote this the other night, but I thought last year was an aberration for Greg Lovelady and UCF. I mean, this has been a consistent regional contender, and for the fact that they had the season they did, I didn't think they would carry that over this year. I was a little uncertain about their team, but I didn't think they would carry it over. And they gave Ole Miss all they could handle. I think the biggest thing for Ole Miss, it's going to be interesting to see coming out of this. I know they're shaking up the rotation, but Drew McDaniel had a short outing. You look at the jobs like Dylan DeLucia did out of the bullpen, and you kind of hang your hat on that. But I'll be very interested to see, how things kind of come together for Ole Miss starting pitching wise come conference play. I think the biggest storyline for me, Richard, is John Gaddis. I mean, he goes 7 shutout, and I'll be really honest with you. I think I even mentioned this before. But, when I saw him at A&M Corpus Christi, I saw him at them at the Shriners Classic last year. They were a fill-in for somebody, fill-in for A&M, actually. And so, when I went there, I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was great, but since getting to Ole Miss, his velocity's jumped, the stuff has gotten a lot better, and all of a sudden he's one of the more kind of rising lefties in that conference. So his ascension has been huge for that team, and I think it was a good series win for them. UCF is obviously jacked up. I remember seeing a video of the home run the kid hit on Friday. Or was it Saturday? I can't even remember now. It all runs together. But, he hit that home run, and, the outfield's going crazy. You got people hanging over the fence. And so, it's one of those atmospheres that, for a team that hadn't been on the road yet was absolutely perfect. And so to come out of there with a series win, you got to be feeling pretty good about yourself if you're Mike Bianco in the Reds.
Hey, last thing. I think we talked about this last week. Measuring stick, litmus test, whatever you want to say. Give me 30 seconds on Tennessee. How real are the Vols?
Boy, I love their club. I think they're really, really deep offensively. They're able to go 12 or 13 players deep. And, keep an eye on the two freshmen, Chase Burns and Luke Beam, out of the bullpen, or excuse me, in the starting rotation. Burns, is replacing Blade Tidwell. He's up to 98 with an 89-mile-an-hour cutter. And then when you look at Beam, he was up to 94, 95. So, if they can get Blade Tidwell back at some point to go with those two freshman power arms, Tennessee is very scary. I mean, I'm talking like they could be in the mix of the national championship scary.
Kendall.